You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick, both inside and outside of the music business.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. My guest today, Kent Slucher, is best known as the drummer with country superstar Luke Bryan. He also has a home studio, and during the pandemic, he created the rock and roll supergroup Kuarantine with Chris Jericho. I'm going to talk to Kent about all of these things today, including a host of other topics. So come along with me as I catch up with Kent Slucher. Kent, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, it's been a while.
It's been so long, like forever long.
I know. It's like weird seeing you. It's like you're really there.
I'm real. See, I pinched myself. I'm real.
Yeah, all right.
It is awesome to see you though, and you're in your studio space, which looks super cool.
I take what she'd kill me because right down there at the bottom, the tapestries kind of come apart. So, but that's all my wife. She's like, listen, if you're going to be doing videos and putting content up from time to time, you need a better background. So that's all her. I
love it. She has that touch for sure with decorating and everything.
Yeah, she gets on me for the gap. See the gap between the wall and I put the RLX up and she gets on to me about all that stuff. But it's like, it sounds okay up here. So that's the main thing. But
that's the most important part. And it looks super cool too. And no one would notice that.
So. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. She would be appreciative of that. So.
And you know what? It's really important because, throughout this whole time with the pandemic and quarantine and being at home and all of that, it's amazing to have a space like that to keep doing work.
It's the best. I was literally yesterday, I'm a big Government Mule fan, and they did a whole YouTube thing they called it Lockdown. And they were talking about, Warren Haynes was talking about how he used this time, as most musicians do, or artists in any form, painters or what have you, they use that time to, once they got their head wrapped around, we're not going to be able to play music or do what we love for a while. Let's just refocus our attention on writing new stuff or recording or whatever. So it was really cool to watch that and notice everybody's headspace was the same,
Yeah, it's been a common theme of these conversations that I've been having is, either if you already had a studio space, you're a little bit ahead of the game. And then if you didn't, so many people are installing them, which is a really great thing for all the audio companies and, sound design companies and all of that, soundproofing. And
it's wonderful. And I really like staying busy too. So I'm always, even when I'm off the road, I'm like, I love being home with the family and that's what I do. But so the good thing is I can literally come upstairs, record drums and go back downstairs and be with the family at the same time, so it's a beautiful thing. I don't have to leave the house and I can come up here and, you invest a little money in it and you make money off of it. So it pays for itself, So
absolutely. That's so great. And similarly, I never imagined being home for this long either. So
I know you're a workhorse. You've always worked really hard and on the go. So I'm sure it was an adjustment for you as well.
But similarly, it is a nice shift, I think, in that whole work-life balance, which a lot of us don't really have a balance. We just work, and life is our work. And so it's been a good change, I think, for me personally, and for a lot of people that I've talked to, just realizing how important that is, and then also like being home a little bit more to see the family grow and.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was, I got to thinking about it. My daughter, I was gone the first half of her life, and I was actually home almost 2 years with my son, getting to see him change and grow and talk more and just become his own little person, and it's been great. So I definitely try to grab a hold of that and cherish those moments when I'm gone.
Absolutely.
And go, you know what? I got to be home for a year and a half and still get to do what I love to do and provide for my family, which is unheard of, to be off work and still be able to provide. So it was a win-win for me. It definitely it helped. You know, in the beginning, of course, I was sad, and I would get depressed at times, and I would feel like part of me was missing. But kind of after a while, I learned to embrace it and kind of refocus on things and hopefully become a better player, musician overall. You know, I kind of focused on that more. So, as well as the family was not first always, but I would pick my spots and come upstairs and record and play. And if people send tracks, I'm more than glad to do it, because it takes an hour or two of my day, and I get to go back downstairs, be with my family. So
for sure. And let's talk about that too. 4 on the floor recording.
Yes,
is what it's called. And if someone wants a track, how do they find you?
The easiest thing, I've gotten a lot of work out of Facebook, believe it or not. And I hate being, going, hey guys, I'm available for tracks, and I'm not doing it to try to oversaturate anything, but I just do it because I truly enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
and I know I'm a small fish in a very big pond. There's a lot of guys you can reach out to, and I mean, you can reach out to Ray Luzier probably, and he would cut a track for you. You know what I mean? So, but to get any work at all is a blessing. So, yeah, you reach out on Facebook or even Instagram. I just did a thing on Instagram because and just send me a message, and then we start the rapport there, and just kind of, okay, well, give me your email and or give me your number, and I'll text you, and you fill it out and see if it's worth it, on both ends, financially or what have you, and just kind of go from there. So I've got a lot of work from the Facebook and the whole thing. The Facebook,
Facebook,
the Instagram. I sound my age right. The Facebook, right now.
We've talked about this before with social media and getting used to all the new platforms that pop up, and so it's necessary to be on these platforms and to maintain them and all of that. And I always wonder what the newest thing is. I don't know.
Where do you go from here? I mean, what do you do? I mean,
how do you? Yeah, how can you be more on?
Technology is nuts. We were just, where was I? I was in LA or something, and I saw a robot going down the road, and I'm like, what is that thing doing? And I asked one of the guys with us, we were walking, I was like, what is that? He goes, oh yeah, it's delivering somebody's food.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've seen one before. I forget whose Instagram it was. It was one of the bands, and he opened up his hotel door, and there was a robot. It opens up this little thing, and you press the screen, and it's the weirdest thing. It's crazy. I thought it was
personally get super creeped out. I like technology. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
it's necessary. It's great. But the rate at which things are advancing and I don't know.
I was like, am I on the Jetsons right now? What is that? It's like,
right?
So that's what it was doing. It was delivering someone's food. So.
And that's what it feels like too, because when we were kids and we would watch shows like the Jetsons, and you would see would push a button and then the food would come out, or everything was so automated. And now friends of mine recently purchased a shower unit that looked like something from the future, and I thought, oh my gosh! And that's what popped in my head was the Jetsons.
See, it wasn't just me. So, that's the first thing I popped. I'm like, what was the maid's name on the Jetsons? I can't remember, but that's what I thought of when I saw this. I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen, and I was unaware of this. So
I can't remember either. That's going to drive me crazy. We'll think of it though.
Anyway, in the comments.
In the comments,
people leave comments for this thing, please. What is her name? Not that I won't Google it in a minute and find out who it is.
I know. I'm just to Google. No, that's so funny though. I do think things have come so far in such a short amount of time, and it's like, what is next? We watch shows like that, and we didn't really think that would happen. That's super cool, but it's so futuristic, and I feel like crazy. The future is now. People are launching themselves into space, and
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's nuts. It's like you said, years ago, you're thinking will this happen, and it's happening. So yeah, we're in the middle of it.
It is happening. If you have enough money, you can go and launch into space.
It's endless. It's endless what you can do. So who knows? Maybe we'll go to space. Maybe you could do a podcast from space one day.
I've always wanted to be an astronaut, so maybe.
Well, there you go. Maybe
it's my time. I just need a few $100,000.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I have an American Express with the least
Right.
$50 on it you can use.
We'll have to raise some funds for that.
Yeah, that's right. We'll start up. Yeah.
So funny.
For you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so speaking of recording and all of that at home, you also did something else during this quarantine
Yes, literally.
that is new,
I
called
did.
Kuarantine.
That is right. Yes.
With a K.
That's the wildest thing that's probably happened in a while. It was so organic the way it happened. So a friend of mine, a guy named Joe McGinnis, who lives up in your area, he's up in New York, out in the country, New York somewhere. He and I are huge Kiss fans. I'm a Kiss fan in general, but 80s non-makeup era Kiss, 90s, early 90s I'm a huge fan of, because that stuff kind of flies under the radar. So, and it's more of the shreddy, fast, double kick stuff. So I was like, man, why don't you and I get together and we'd been tossing around for a couple of years, and like, let's just you and me do some Kiss songs and put them up on YouTube. We'll have fun with it just for fun. So became friends with Chris Jericho several years ago, and he's a big Kiss fan as well. So we have this text thread where we just send random Kiss trivia back, or just silly memes or whatever, and one day Joe and I decided we were going to cut a song called No, 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 which came off Kiss's Crazy Nights record. And then so we're playing it, and I played the intro, which is a big double bass thing. And I cut the drums and I sent it to Jericho. I said, hey man, guess this song, And he replies very quickly with No, No, No. And he goes, what are you doing with that? I was like, oh, me and Joe, a friend of mine, are going to just put it out for fun. He goes, hey man, if you need a singer, let me know. And I thought he was kidding.
Yeah.
And then that kind of turned into, I hit him up and I said, hey man, are you serious about this? He goes, absolutely. I love Kiss. Love non-makeup Kiss. So he knew the song, he guessed it right away. And he goes, I said, man, if you know a bass player that's a Kiss fan, you got to be a Kiss fan to really embrace this stuff and do it somewhat justice. And I'm a big fan of the Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer, Eric Carr era. So Joe is as well, and Jericho is. And I was like, man, get a bass player. So he hits his buddy up, PJ Farley. Well, PJ Farley played in a band called Trickster, who I saw open for Kiss in 92 or 3, whatever it was. It was the craziest thing. It was the most random thing. So anyway, we all became kind of a thing, and we were coming up, me and Joe were tossing around names, and like, how about Kuarantine with a K? For Kiss,
Yes.
We'll make the logo kind of look Kissish, and it became, hey man, let's put it on YouTube. And Chris goes, no. We're gonna push this thing. We're gonna see what we can do with it. And lo and behold, No, No, No charted on number 25 on the Billboard rock charts, which is the most random thing is ever. I mean, that's crazy. That's wild.
So great.
In the middle of a pandemic, and we're recording our parts at home and sending them in and getting them mixed. And a guy named Kyle Odell mixed it, who I think does some of the Fozzy stuff as well. And he does. Chris approached it. We approached it like, if Kiss was to release this song today, what would it sound like? So it's kind of got the industrial sound to it, but it sounds like Kiss's parts. You know what I mean? So it's we're just we're flying the flag for that era that kind of flew under the radar, and they
that's the cool thing too. Like I wonder how many people out there think it's new music. You know what I mean? Like don't even know. So that's really coult too, because it is bringing that music back that some people never even heard or didn't know about.
I think hopefully it'll go back and let people go back in the catalog and go, wow, these guys were actually very underrated as musicians, as far as players go in the arrangements and things. And we played our first gig on the Jericho cruise. It was called the Rock and Wrestling Cruise, which I love both. Rock and roll, wrestling, I like them both. So I was on there and we did our first show, and it was great. It was fun. And I look up, and Robert Sweet and Michael Sweet from Stryper out there in the crowd, and Steve Brown, who also played with Trickster. So all these guys I admire and respect and are fans of. I mean, I don't know about you, but as a drummer, I watched Robert Sweet as a child, and those drum sets and just his flash and the way he played was just over the top, and it made me want to play, outside of the Kiss thing, more later in life, I really got attached to the Stryper stuff, and I love those guys. And they were very kind and very nice and just good dudes. So
I love that.
There we
It
go.
sounded like that would have been so much fun. When you told
was
me you were
fun.
heading out on the
It was
cruise, I
fun.
was like,
It was
that
fun.
sounds like a blast.
Yeah, because you're a wrestling fan too. Do
Yes.
people know this about you? Do they know that you actually like wrestling? Or
I don't
you're-
know. Some people
They
do
do know.
know this because,
They do know.
random conversations will come
Yeah.
up. But you and I bonded over wrestling. That's one of the first things that we actually talked
Which is
about. I
very
remember
random,
that you were like, you like wrestling? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
do you like wrestling?
Yeah, because I've been watching it since I was 6.
Yes,
It was
me
something
too.
my dad and I watch it together, and he still calls me from time. Hey, did you watch it on? That kind of thing. And I've become friends with a lot of the guys, so it's more personal now, and I enjoy watching them succeed. And it's a lot like the
Yes.
music business. It's a lot like the music business or sports. You're here, and you've been here, and you've been here, and you've been here. So it definitely ebbs and flows a lot like the music industry.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are so many similarities.
Sure.
And I do like same with you. I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid with my dad. My dad was a big fan, and we would watch. That was our thing to do. Was like watch wrestling and scary movies. That was the other part.
Yeah,
but
I like both. I like those too. I call it my man soap.
yeah,
Wrestling is my man soap.
it is.
I get
Right?
to call the man.
That's exactly right. It is. It is like a soap opera in itself.
Yeah,
The backstage,
yeah.
the heckling, and the personalities that go with it, and the storylines,
They
and
continue the stories until the story wraps up, and then they move on to another story. So it's it's just the man soap. So
and you have the bad guys.
Yeah.
It always fascinated me. Ric Flair, he was always like such a bad. Yeah, he was so good. He was so good at being like a bad personality.
He's still man. That guy is just nobody could cut a promo like Ric Flair.
I know. You can hire him to do promos.
Yeah, man. It's like I bet that guy makes a killing. What's it, Cameo or whatever it is? I don't know if he's on Cameo. But if he is,
I think it's a different platform, but
whatever it's called now, I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's great. I would want him to do whatever. You know what? He should do a Sarah Hagan Backstage. Maybe I can.
That would be.
I can have him promote.
Incredible. Yeah, you could cross brand. You can get some wrestlers on here.
Yes.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. Well, we do know some wrestler drummers. Who is a wrestler drummer? What is his name? That's going to drive me really crazy. Straight Edge.
Do I know him?
Oh my gosh. He just came back. And had this big comeback where he came out and had the greatest reception. Everyone loved him.
And he's a drummer.
Loves him still, and he plays drums on the side. I'll think of it.
Yeah, if you think about this in the context of
I will.
Because I'm curious.
He retired from wrestling. And then he just recently came back. Anyway, on a different platform, not on WWE.
Well, CM Punk?
Yes, CM Punk.
Is he a drummer?
Yes, he's a drummer.
I had no idea.
He is. Yes, I actually helped him pick out some cymbals back in the day, a few years back.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yep.
No idea.
And I can't believe I couldn't recall his name off the top of my head, but I'm tired morning here.
Yes. We discussed that a little bit before we
did.
Started. Yeah, I was like,
we did. Lack of sleep.
Yeah.
I was actually up. I went to my first show last night. My first show.
You went to Nate, didn't you?
And I saw Nate Smith.
That guy.
And it was incredible, Kent. And I like just being at a show after so long. It was a year and 9 months. And that's way too long after being at multiple shows a week for 20 years, know?
So,
holy moly. But it was so amazing. And that band Kinfolk is incredible. And if you're a drummer, to see a band led by a drummer and drum centric is so rare and exciting for us.
That guy, I don't know if anybody grooves like that guy right now. That guy is he's a freak of nature.
Right?
Watching him play, man, I've never, it's just
so good.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can just feel it, right?
Yep, I think you put a video up or something. I was like, oh, that's Nate. Wow.
Yes, I did. I captured a little bit of the show, which was one of my favorite things that he does, which is just move so fluidly between feel and time. And oh my gosh,
he's ridiculous.
just, it kills me. It gives me goosebumps every time.
Yeah.
I must have watched that clip like 75 times.
Like, it's one of those things, you either got it or you can't teach that. You either have that or you don't. And there's so many beautiful players out there, and he is one of them that I just really blow me away right now. And it's just, I could go down the rabbit hole, and I go to YouTube.
I know we could definitely.
I go down all these, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like a kid. I'm like a 5-year-old, and I still go down the drum rabbit hole, and even drum tuning and just silly videos that I just respect the player so much. I'll watch it and just see what they have to say, so.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where like, you never lose that. Like when you have that feeling, we all remember the feeling of like seeing the moments that really kind of shaped us or like pushed us forward in our musical journey, whether it be you seeing Kiss or experiencing that music for the first time, or seeing, we back in the day, the MTV videos.
Absolutely.
And seeing like the performance part of it. I remember seeing Sheila E. in her heels and her outfit, like, and the smile on her face. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's possible. You can do that. You can dress fancy and be a woman and play.
Absolutely. and wipe everybody off stage.
Yes.
She's still incredible, man. I love her to death. I've never got to meet her, but I would love to meet Sheila E. one day. I hold her on a very high pedestal. She's paved the way for so many people. In general, male, female, whoever. She is.
Yeah, you're right. Male, female, like so many people have been influenced by her. And she's still, I love how she posts. She posts and promotes other people all the time.
All the time.
And it's just like, man, I feel like that is just the most incredible way to use your notoriety, is to pull other people up with you, right?
You pay it forward, you pay it forward.
For sure.
You've been blessed to have a career, and why not? It's not going to hurt anybody. You just give somebody a hand up, not a handout.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't give anybody a hand up that doesn't deserve it. If you see something in somebody and you're like, hey man, this guy or gal can do this, you deserve a push. Go.
Absolutely. And I think that's what this industry is about, and especially the drumming community. Like, I talk about it all the time, but man, what a group of amazing human beings who just look out for each other and help and are there and supportive. And I know you experienced that, and I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but when I first met you, I want to go back in time a little bit. When I first met you, it was Tim McGraw tour, I think, and you guys were on the bill.
It was,
and kind of just breaking.
Yeah, and Luke was getting ready. That roller coaster was starting to climb, quite a bit, So
it was heading up, and I remember, so I was there to see Tim McGraw and
Boone, wasn't it? When Boone,
and Boone was there, playing with the band Perry. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm having like memory flashbacks right now.
Yep. I remember that day very well.
Right. And I met you for the first time, and you were recovering. You had just recovered from an injury.
Yeah.
And you were back out on the tour, and you were telling me about how the drummers in the community kept your gig for you while you were recovering, and just played the gigs, kept that spot open for you. And I just thought that was so beautiful.
Yeah. It truly touches it still. When I think about it, I get a little emotional thinking about it, because, I won't get into the injury, but people who know,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a very freak accident type thing. And it happened in a blink of an eye, and things changed very quickly. We were getting ready to go out on tour with Rascal Flatts. I think it was Rascal Flatts tour, And I missed that whole tour, obviously. But Rich Redmond stepped in for the very first show, because we had toured with Aldean before, and he kind of knew some of the songs and stuff. So it just made sense literally, I got hurt when we were leaving that night to go do a show. So,
oh my gosh.
So Rich stepped in very quickly, and then after that, Chris Tyrell, who with Lady A, and everyone stepped in as a wonderful human being. And, you know, going through my mind, you know, I was like, oh no, you know, I'm going to lose my gig. You know, Wes, the first thing I thought about, I was hurt, and I was like, I wasn't thinking about anything other than this is bad.
Yeah.
Not because I'm injured, but because I may not have a gig.
Right.
Which is, you know, in a lot of camps, maybe that's the case, but not in this one, you know. And Luke, the artist I play for, told me, he's like, man, you get better. Don't worry. Your job is to get better. It's gonna be okay. Trust
I love
me.
that.
Trust me. And even when he told me that, I was still in my mind. I was such in a depression / just a fog of, did this really just happen?
Right.
I still had to be told all the time, over and over again, that it's okay. And he said, you're not coming back till you're ready, because I know you'll try to come back too early.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back, and, you know, when I was going to try to play drums again, I remember Keo Stroud, who a lot of drummers know, went, and I will forever be grateful for him. He went out of his way and set up a drum set, his own personal drum set at SR Studios for me. And I went and played, and it was the first time I'd played in a long time.
Wow.
And he went above and beyond to help me out. So Keo, if you watch this, I love you, buddy. I'm always thankful for that moment. And yeah, just the drumming industry, you know, Kevin Murphy and all these guys. And even if I don't know them, they'll come up, hey man, is that you that had the injury? Dude, tell me about it. What, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. It's so, and Tim McGraw and Faith Hill sent me flowers, and everybody was just so beautiful. And the boss, my boss, Luke, is, and that whole camp, management from Luke down, just was very loving and comforting, and just you can't. I mean, it's just unbelievable to know that they had my back that whole time, and I didn't have to worry about anything else other than just getting better. And
absolutely,
and I eventually did. And then I met you on that tour, and I was still getting my sea legs back underneath me.
Yeah,
it took a couple months to get the cardio back, and because I played pretty aggressively on that gig, and it took a while to get back to where I wanted to be, and mentally too. I was scared. You know, can I still do this? Can I? You know, will I be nervous in front of those people and all this and that? And it took a while. I got back on the bike. I didn't go as fast at first, but I sped up pretty quickly.
It was a process, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. But you played fantastically on that tour. I just remember, like, you guys came out. I hadn't ever seen Luke Bryan, the band. I hadn't seen you guys play live ever. And I knew going into this concert, you know, the crowd goes crazy for Tim McGraw. Tim comes out and the crowd goes wild.
Yeah. He's Tim McGraw.
And it's like, you know, just rabid fans. So I'm there, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to check out Luke Bryan, and he's new, and Kent, and I just met Kent, and you guys came out and you played. And it was at the Xfinity Center in Mansfield, Massachusetts, and there's like a catwalk area, you know, so you guys start playing, and Luke walks down the catwalk and starts shaking his hips, and the crowd goes insane. And I was like, okay, this is like the thing. Like, they're going to be huge. Yeah. And I think it was maybe 3 months later, and you guys were like winning all the awards. And
it was insane. It just it happened. So it seems like it happened so quickly, but then I flash back and I think of all the bars we played and all the clubs we played, and all the terrible festivals and all that stuff. You know, we've all done it, and I do it again. You know, I'm honored to do it. It's music. It's all music. It's all a stage. It's just where you're still playing for the right reason. It comes from in here. So it's like, I do it again. But I honestly, I am just blown away at how big it got. And just, I knew he was going to do well because he just has that thing. He's that guy. He's just got that gift.
Yeah. And the band, and too, like, you all are so tight, and musician wise, you know, you're such a high level. And
thank you. We do play a lot together, and we take a lot of pride in that, you know, and there's a lot to be said with playing in the same band with the same guys for a long time. You kind of know each other's nuances and what they're going to do, and what they're going to do here in this section. And you kind of, and then if I have everybody in my mix. So I play off each other a lot, you know, off the guitar player or the vocal a lot. So I just kind of,
absolutely.
it kind of grows. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and pretty soon you guys were like, playing all the awards and all the late night shows and winning, Luke
Incredible.
won Entertainer of the Year over and over
Yeah.
again. And,
Yeah.
he's on the shows, prime time shows. And so,
Right. And now he's on American Idol, I guess. Yeah.
yep, American
He's still doing
Idol,
that.
and
And it's been a blessing, and it's
amazing.
it's reached out to a whole different fan base, and it's just he's pop culture now. It's bigger than just playing the gig. To being an artist, he's out there. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It's amazing. I'm so happy for all of you, because I know you all worked really hard for it and you deserve it.
Thank you. Truly love
and
it.
That's what we like to see, And in the country music genre, and you and I have talked a lot about this, but as far as like style wise and music wise, it's made a transition so much into like the world of rock music, right? And the way this conversation started with us early on was talking about gear.
Yeah.
And selecting products, and we reference Dave Grohl often, right? So Dave's big crash cymbals and his effect cymbals and all of that, and needing that sound for these big arena shows, because you're playing this, it's country music, but it's in a style that is on the edge of rock.
Yeah, the way I describe it, it's 80s arena rock with country lyrics. It's big, it's big, it's bombastic. There's pyro, there's lasers, there's all that stuff, and it's wow, it's a ride. Like, you go to the show, it's like, I've got rock buddies that come to the show and they're like, I'm not a real big country guy, but that show was awesome.
So good.
And there's a lot to be said for that. I think you don't have to necessarily be a fan of the music, but you can enjoy the show.
Right. And it also like gives you an opportunity to play some of the style, like in a style that you enjoy too, because I know you're a fan of that style of music. And when we've talked often about Tool and that kind of thing, and I feel like you approach the music in a really unique way from all of this that you've gathered over the years from the kind of music that you like.
It's like, I was blessed in the early on. I played, my mom and dad played top 40 country / Fleetwood Mac, Barbara Mandrell, Earl Thomas Conley, Oak Ridge Boys, stuff like that. And then I had my cousin on the other side of the house that I grew up in, that I lived in, Led Zeppelin, Alice Cooper, Kiss, more Black Sabbath, the harder stuff. So I grew up on both of it. And I have a love. I mean, if you go, I'm probably like yourself and many other players, musicians, or what have you. I've got everything from Adele to Anthrax in my playlist, or from Slipknot to Sade. I've got everything. So I think if I can stress anything to players or younger guys, it's like, don't turn your nose up at any type of music, because there's great in everything.
Yes.
You just have to, because you never know when the phone rings and you don't want to say no to a gig. It's like, hey man, can you do a country top 40 gig tonight? I don't like that type of music. So you're going to pass up $300-400 because you don't like the music or what have you? It's like, there's great in it all. You just got to look for it, and open your ears and your mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a perfect way to describe it. And I also am similar. Like I remember, being my goodness, probably like high school. And I was very, very much into hard progressive rock music, drumming wise. Like I love great drumming. So all that stuff, all the stuff with great drumming on it. And then, you'd look through, if you CD cases, because that's what we had back in the day.
Oh, yes.
Put all your CDs in the sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
But there was such an array, like from all that stuff to Jewel and Tori Amos and all of it, because there's something in there that's really, really great. And so much of that stuff, and jazz music, I didn't really discover jazz until high school. One of my band director was a great jazz player, and I was in the jazz band. And so I started listening to all this jazz music and discovering all of the amazing, especially on the drums, all the amazing jazz drummers that were out there, and how that influenced all the other stuff I loved. So
it's incredible. I will be the first to tell folks I'm not a jazz player, and I don't pretend to be. That's the one phone call I don't like. You're going to want to go somewhere else, because I don't have those chops. I don't have that that gift of playing that style of music. Of course, I never grew up playing it. Do I
Right.
respect and love it? Absolutely. To the
Mm-hmm.
point where I'm like overwhelmed. It's so great. Stanton Moore and Hamilton and all these guys just blew my mind. And
Yeah.
who took the jazz stuff and kind of incorporated into was Chamberlain. Jimmy Chamberlain
Yes.
is a great play. And so
Yeah.
you can do both. Like you said, you can be influenced by this and this, and you can mold those two things together and
Right.
become your own thing. Like nobody plays like Jimmy Chamberlain. It's him.
Absolutely.
Because I think his jazz chops definitely come out in the way he plays
Mm-hmm.
that Pumpkins gig or whatever gig he's doing. It's just so that's one of those genres I turned my nose up to for a long time until I really got it and understood what was going on. I went and saw Chick Corea and Tom Breckline was playing, and I was just, whoa, like this is incredible.
Yes.
Like it's next level greatness. And I never could play like that. I'm so frustrated because I would try and I would try to fake it, but it would come. If any true jazz player would look at me and go, you need to stick to boom whack because 2 and 4, because that ain't happening for you. You know what I mean?
But you say that, but like it's just enjoying it, I think is important.
Absolutely.
Or appreciating it.
I love it.
Yeah, and there are definitely genres of music that I'm not super excited to sit down and listen to, but that being said, I think like you said, there's always something. There's always something in there.
Love listening to jazz. I love playing, but I just can't play it. I'm just not good enough. I guess you would say I'm not. I can admit that I'm just not good enough to play it. It's like that's a different bar that I'm just not hip to. That is just
I think it's a whole other world.
It's a whole different way of thinking, man. It's the greatness that comes with that style of playing is just, and jazz guitarists blow me away. It's absolutely a stone that I won't try to turn over because I know I won't do it justice. I guess that's more that I'm a perfectionist and I try to be the best I can be. And I know that's one thing that that's not my thing. I love it, love watching it, love listening to it, but I am just terrible at it. I can play like Western swing and stuff like that, but when it comes to jazz and that's it's just I try, but I fail miserably.
Well, you know what, you can't be perfect at everything, Kent. You're really really great at what you do. So
I'll stay in my lane. I know what lane to stay in, and
well, and you have a great lane.
Thank you.
But the other thing too that I really think is amazing is no matter how old you get or where you go in your career or where you're at, there's always something new to discover. And I think that process of discovering new music or like wrapping your head around new musical concepts is amazing. Like,
absolutely.
That fascinates me. And I think of like what I have in the back of my head while I'm saying this is like Chris Dave, Zach Danziger, Mark Juliana, like the style and of playing that's just so different and unique and new. And it just reminds me when I hear stuff like that like there's always something else new. There's always something to discover. There's always some technique being invented or style. And I love that.
Always. I love it too. It's one of those things you never quit learning. It's one of those crafts that you are never, you have the greatest players in the world still striving to be better.
Yes.
And I think that comes with just discovering new players. And there's a 12-year-old right now that will absolutely blow our minds somewhere, and just and be something we've never seen before. And I think that's what's beautiful about this, whether it's guitar, piano, upright bass, whatever that may be, there's somebody that's doing something that you haven't seen before. And I think that just kind of keeps the wheel turning and kind of gives everyone something to strive for or keep being better. Because, I've always said, the moment I stop loving this and stop having a passion for it or wanting to be better or be the best I can be, then I'm gonna hang it up, which that's never going to happen. I love what I do so much. And as we all do, it's just, it's like a curse. It's there. It's always going to be there. And you have to feed that beast. You have to feed that animal, whether it's coming up here for 20 minutes a day and playing, or whether it's listening to music, or whether it's picking up a guitar. And I'm not a great guitar player, but I really enjoy sitting down and playing, because it's feeding that beast, it's feeding that inner animal that's always there. It's always there. It's always talking to you, so, and I love it.
Absolutely. I think when you're a creative person, getting it out, like getting your creativity out in the form of music or writing or painting or whatever it is, I think it's so necessary to you as a person, right? Like,
Absolutely.
It's so fulfilling. And I think even like you said, going up and playing for 20 minutes a day, it fills a need and lets you feel human.
Absolutely. I mean, like this, especially during the pandemics, like, it's gone. It's not there. So I have things here that I can still do and try to keep my chops up and be, because not playing a live show, there's a lot of difference between coming up here and doing studio work than going out and playing 2 hours full steam, So it paid off coming up here and playing a little bit and keeping my chops up and I would do simple things to just turn on a metronome and play just 2 and 4 for 10 minutes, just trying to work on that, always keep striving for that groove and that feel and that thing that we do.
Absolutely. And were you nervous to get back out on the road, to get out on this tour, or were you just ready to go?
I was both. I was more nervous at the fact that you were on eggshells the whole time, because you were worried about, okay, well, even after we were out 2 weeks or so on the tour, I was like, is this really happening? Can we can we still pull this off? Because there's a lot of tours that are pulling out and aren't wanting to go out and risk it. And by golly, we got through it. We started in July, ended in mid-October, and we did it. We did it. We played. It was crazy. We kept our, everybody stayed as healthy as possible, and we got it done. We got it done, man. It was crazy.
I was so happy that for every day that you stay out, it's like a relief, I think. And I was watching all the tours happening, and I was watching all the rescheduling, cancellations, and people getting the virus and having to postpone and those things. And I saw you guys you were going, and I was like, all right, guys, just keep going.
Yeah, that's the way it was. I was more scared at that, and just not knowing. But again, we got through it, and before you knew it, the tour was over. And it's like so basically, I think the dates we did this year were from 2019, the ones we were supposed to do in 2019, for the most part, from what I understand. So it was stuff that was rescheduled months and months, years. And, so we did it, we got through it, and, here we are, and all I can say is thank the Lord we got through this thing with everybody staying healthy,
Absolutely. Yes. And are you, what's on the horizon for you? Do you all have plans or dates or things coming up?
We have some one-off stuff coming up. We have a festival coming up, and he's got a residency starting in February at the Resorts World in Vegas next year. So we do that in February. So,
all right.
So that's
my
exciting.
Birthday's in February. I might have to celebrate in Vegas.
You and Matt should come out.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. I don't know what to expect, as far as the Vegas show. I don't know what we're going to do, and I'm sure we'll just do our thing, and Luke will do his thing, and we'll hopefully put some smiles on faces, and just have fun. We have fun. So
I'm sure. I'm just trying to imagine it'll be a production. I'm sure I'm
assuming so. Yes. Yeah, I'm assuming so. I don't know what to expect until
costume changes and
I don't know.
Feathers and
maybe I'll wear boas or something.
Yes.
You never know what to expect. It is Vegas, so maybe, I don't know, maybe some special guests to pop up. Carrot Top might get up and sing with it. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen, but
wrestling on the side. You have a ring set up.
Man, I'll tell you what. I've seen what those guys do. It would hurt me too much. So I might do it.
Well, no, you'd be playing. They could the
I play. Okay, thank goodness, because I don't. They'd crush me. But that's fun. So and I assumed at some point next year there'll be dates tour dates and stuff. But like I said, we got some one-off stuff. He's got a festival, the Crash My Playa thing in January, which just hasn't happened the last couple of years because of the pandemic. So I think we're going to do that this year in January. So
great.
In Mexico.
That'll be great to get to Mexico in the winter time.
It's a good way to start the year. You know, it's a very loosey-goosey show. We go and have fun and just kind of dust everything off, you know, and play again. So it's fun. It'll be
absolutely.
Good. Yeah. So, but then, you know, other than that, I'm doing some gigs around town with some friends, and like I said, I like staying busy, so I'm always putting the feelers out, and just trying to. Idle mind. What do they say? Idle hands are the devil's playground. Is that what they say?
Right. Right.
So
you got to keep busy.
I like staying busy just for my own, you know, just my own mental health. I like working. So, but at the same time, I like juggling home life and being able to do both, which is beautiful in the country music industry because you get to come home.
That is pretty amazing. And I have to say, I don't know if everyone listening knows about that, like the schedule wise, it's so conducive to family life because you would go out, what is it, like Monday through Thursday?
Well, we go out, our normal schedules, we leave Wednesday and come back Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Typical. Our longest run this year for us was about 12 days, 11 or 12 days, which in the scheme of touring, I talked to a lot of my rock buddies and they're like, yeah, man, I've been out for 2 months.
Yeah.
And we don't go home. So we're very blessed in the fact that we can have a family life and a touring life and you can do both.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I miss my kids. I don't think at this point in my life I could stay out that long, and I would miss my kids too much and things like that. So I'm very, very lucky and fortunate to be able to do that and provide for my family and see my family at the same time and reap the benefits of you know, the country music industry where you don't have to stay out 6 weeks or 8 weeks so very lucky.
I think that's incredible. And you know, just the it seems like this genre of music is so conducive to that, and especially like on the road, and you see people, their kids are welcome and they're there and they're, you know, they're and it's just good people. Like I spoke with Steve Missamore weeks back, and you know, we talked about how Dirks came and the band came to his house after the tornado hit and helped him with everything, clean up and all that stuff. And I'm just thinking about how the recent news story, I think it was maybe even this past week, how Luke helped change someone's tire on the side of the road. It's like, it's amazing.
That you guys saw that when I did. I didn't know anything about it, and I saw it. I'm like, what? But that totally sounds like something he would do. He's just what you see is what you get with him. He is truly a great guy. I get asked that all the time. How is he? But he's one of the best humans. I've been here going on 14. I'm on my 14th year, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't that way, you know. And he's treated me like family, you know. And I'm very indebted to him and management and everything for having me around this long. I'm very, very lucky and fortunate. I know I keep saying that, but I am. I mean, at the end of the day, I get to provide for my family playing drums, playing music, and that's crazy. That's unheard of. So, you know, I keep it real on my phone. I've got a picture of me when I was 2 or 3 years old, and I'm sitting there and I'm holding a pair of drumsticks, and I look at that sometimes, and I look in the mirror and go, that's the same kid that. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, I sometimes, you know, you get caught up in it and you go, man, this is, you know, the catering is, oh man, you know, it's like at the end of it, I'm griping about the catering. It's like I get to play drums and make people happy and make people stomp their feet and bob their heads, and it all goes away, man, when you're up on stage and you're looking out there and you're doing what you love to do. It doesn't, you know, it all goes away.
The little things don't matter, right?
Absolutely not. It does not matter. You put it aside for an hour and a half, 2 hours, or whatever we play, and you give it all you got because those people paid hard-earned money to come see you, you know?
Absolutely.
I just want to put if I can make a kid pick up a pair of drumsticks, job done, you know, and he sees me having fun up there, and because I was that kid.
Yeah,
So it can happen.
Was there a moment too? We didn't really touch upon your start, but you were young, right? When you started getting into or falling in love with drumming. But was there a moment where you saw someone playing where you were like, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, my mom and dad had a drummer, a guy named Dugan. Again, I was a toddler, but I remember watching him play. And she had a friend. They had another drummer buddy, and he had a set of blue Vista lights. And it was the big, all the toms and everything. I just remember seeing that and going, wow. And then I saw the Beach Boys on TV, and they had the two drummers.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they were playing, I forget where it was, it was a huge stadium, and there were tons of people. And I remember going, that's really cool. I want to do that. And then I saw Kiss on TV, and it was done. I can't remember what it was, what I saw them on. And then it was over. It was after that, just the bombastic of it, the bombasticness of it, and the just over the top, and the visual of seeing Peter Criss play. I was done. Yeah. It was over. So
that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and just growing up around it, my dad and my mom and my grandfather played. My aunt and uncle always sang in church, and I would go to church and sing and things like that. So I was always around it, and it's almost like it chose me. I didn't choose it, It's like, this is what you're going to do. And that's just the way it is. So I've always had that little guy on my shoulder saying, let's do this, let's. Yeah. So and then I played in the band with my dad out of high school. And then I played in several local bands there in Kentucky, and then got a phone call to come to Nashville and audition for a guy named Anthony Smith, and I got the gig. So I think I'm on 20 years now touring. Wow. I played with Anthony, then I played with Pam Tillis, who I love to death. She's a legend, for about 5 years, and then I've been with Luke 14 now. So yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy when I look back on it and look at the years I've been doing this now. And I just turned 45, and I was just, 25? We're 20. Yeah, 20. What was that? 20. What's my math?
Right.
25. 25.
So, yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. So it's been a beautiful ride. I cannot complain one ounce.
I love that, Kent. And I think what you said about it chose you is like, it's just something. I think that's what it takes. And maybe it's with all musicians, but with drummers for sure, that's what it takes. It's something that's inside of you, like a need. I do remember a business conversation years back where there was a firm that was trying to figure out what makes a drummer, and we were sitting around a table, and it was like, why do people drum? Is it for the girls? Is it for the blood? Whatever. And my answer was, because we have to. Like, it's just, you just have to. And I don't think anyone, it looks cool. The drums are cool. They're super cool. They sound cool, but it's not easy.
Right.
It's not easy. And it's one of those things where it takes a lot of time, and you have to put a lot into it, I think. And so it chooses you. I believe that.
I agree 100%. And I'm always, as a drummer, you're always striving to be better. Like I said earlier, it's like when I stop caring as much as I do, then I'm gonna hang it up, because that just means I'm not into it and my heart's not in the right place. And I don't ever foresee that happening. I don't ever foresee that happening. It's always there. I always have rhythm in my head. It's always talking to me. Like Dave Grohl's new book, he touches on that and talks about it. It's listening to his book. I got the audio version, and I was on the plane. We were flying out west, and I just kind of just went into a trance listening to it. And so many things he said, just totally mirrored my thought process.
Yeah.
When I was younger, and it's so wild. Have you heard or read any of it?
I haven't. I'm flying next week, and that's my book. But I was thinking about the audio version. Is he reading it?
It's him.
Okay, I'm gonna do that then.
It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, because I definitely have more time to listen, and while I'm doing other things.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I have heard that, and the little parts that I've heard, it reminds me, because anytime Dave does anything, anytime he puts out a statement or a story or interview or anything, every single time, I think he's so relatable.
Absolutely.
Right? Like he says
Absolutely.
what we are all thinking or how we
Yep.
all feel. And he's
Yep.
just so like, normal, quote unquote, for us musicians to feel
He's
that.
approachable. He's approachable, and
Right.
he gets it. I mean, he totally, he gets coined the term the nicest guy in rock. Well, there's a reason for that. Because he generally comes across, and he's one of my favorite, not only drummers but musicians. Just the riffs that he comes up with, and the writing that he's done with the Foo Fighters and beyond, the Queen stuff, Queens of the Stone Age stuff he played on, and it's just he's the modern day Paul McCartney. Obviously a different vibe from Paul, but it's just.
But like status wise, representation wise, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's everywhere, and he does everything, and you can tell he loves what he does, and he puts he's very passionate and very about what he does.
Very authentic, I think.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. So I think that's why, again, the book hit really close to home, and like I said, some of the stuff I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I thought and what I think. So it's I think everybody should check it out, even if you're not a Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters, whatever. The book is fantastic.
Absolutely. After next week, I'll give you a call and we can talk.
Please do.
About it.
Please do. Okay. Let me know what you think. I'm about halfway through it. So I'm waiting for the next plane ride to pick it up, because obviously I'm not going to listen to it here because I can't.
Right.
I got a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old wanting dad's attention. So
I know how tough that is. Yes, to find time to do that kind of stuff. But on the flights, perfect.
Beautiful. Yeah, you can just detach and just go into your own little world, and it's good. Yeah, I wasn't going to get the audio if it wasn't him reading it, because I think that kind of.
That's why I asked. Exactly why. Yeah.
Yep. It says narrated by Dave Grohl, so I got it, and it's great.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna put a link to that, and I will also link to the Kuarantine music, and I will make sure that people know where to follow you so that they can hit you up for some tracks if they need some drum tracks.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. And I love doing it more than anything.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to get rich doing studio work, so I just love doing it for the love.
Yeah, it's fun.
Making people happy, and so I'm here. So
perfect. Awesome, Kent. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. It was great to just see you and catch up with you.
Likewise, you are a gem. You're one of the best people in the industry. Always have been.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And we will see each other soon.
All right. I'll be around.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.